So coming to the next topic, that is fertilization in humans. What is fertilization? It is the fusion of male and female gametes is called as fertilization. And in humans, fertilization is internal fertilization which occurs in the body of the female. And where it occurs in the female reproductive system? It occurs in a part called as a ampulla. You all know fallopian tube has isthmus, ampulla, and a funnel-like part called as infundibulum. After ovulation, the ova is collected by infundibulum and it comes and resides in the ampulla for 24 hours. If this is the ovum, this is the zona pellucida and corona radiata. So this will be in the ampulla. So what are the steps in fertilization? For fertilization to take place, because it is internal fertilization, the first step is insemination. What is insemination? Discharge of sperm by the male into the female genital tract is called as insemination. During insemination, the male discharges in the female reproductive tract 2 to 3 ml of semen which has 200 to 300 million sperms, out of which at least 60% should have normal shape. Out of this 60%, at least 40% should show vigorous motility. So these are the points we should remember about insemination. First I told you fusion of male and female gametes is called as fertilization. Fertilization occurs in the ampulla of the female. Such a fertilization which occurs in the female reproductive system is called as internal fertilization. For internal fertilization, the male should discharge the sperm into the female genital tract and this act is called as insemination, during which 2 to 3 ml of semen is discharged which has 200 to 300 million sperms, out of which 60% will have normal shape and out of that 60%, 40% will have normal motility, should have normal motility. Now once in the female genital tract, the sperm is capacitation occurs. The next step is capacitation. What is capacitation? It is the maturation of the sperm. Now you may ask me a doubt, ma'am, physiological maturation occurs in epididymis itself in the duct system. So there physiological maturation means in epididymis physiological maturation occurs. It is true. There the sperm is attaining the capacity to move. It is becoming motile there. But in the case of capacitation, some of the substances on the acrosome, the secretions of the female genital tract will wash the secretions on substances on acrosome and expose the receptors of the sperm. Now this sperm is getting the capacity to fertilize the ovum. So this is called as capacitation which occurs, which takes 5 to 6 hours. After insemination, capacitation occurs. For capacitation to occur, it takes 5 to 6 hours. What happens in capacitation? The sperm gets the capacity to fertilize the ovum. The sperm in the female genital tract, the female genital secretions will wash the substances on the acrosome. And once those substances are washed off, the receptor of the sperm will be exposed and such a sperm only have the capacity to fertilize the ovum. That is about capacitation. After capacitation, the spermatozoa should move towards the ovum. Now assume this is the female genital tract. You know roughly this is the uterus. this is the cervix, this is the vagina, and this is the fallopian tube, ampulla, infundibulum. Here the ovum will be there. The sperm is discharged like this, means it has to move in upward direction towards to reach the ovum. First of all, how the sperm moves? The first point is sperm itself is motile. Ovum is non-motile, but sperm is having tail. Tail is nothing but the flagellum, which helps in the movement of the sperm. To move from where the sperm is getting the energy, as I already told you, in the middle piece, mitochondria are present, which is the powerhouse of the sperm, which metabolize fructose to give energy to the sperm. And to swim, the sperm needs some medium. In a dry condition, it cannot swim. The female genital secretions, the secretions in the female genital tract and also the semen forms the medium for the movement of the sperm. Now all this is okay, ma'am. Sperm can move in downward direction and come outside again, no? Why is it moving in upward direction only? Because the semen has prostaglandins. These prostaglandins will cause rhythmic and slight contractions of the uterus. Mind it, I am not saying strong contractions of the uterus occurs during childbirth because of oxytocin. Now, prostaglandins cause slight contractions of the uterus, which creates an upward force for the movement of the sperm towards the ovum. So these are all the points we have to keep in mind for the movement of the sperm. The sperm moves with a speed of 1.5 to 3 millimeters per minute per second. This is the speed of the movement of the sperm. So these are all the points we have to keep in mind. After capacitation, the sperm moves towards the ovum. The sperm itself is motile because it is having a structure called as a flagellum. Here flagellum is nothing but the tail of the sperm is acting like a flagellum. To move, it gets the energy because it has a powerhouse, that is mitochondria in the middle piece, which metabolize fructose to give energy to the sperm. The medium for the swimming or for movement is the female genital tract secretion, and semen forms the medium for the movement of the sperm. Now a doubt will come, the sperm can move in backward direction and come out. Why the sperm is, how is it possible the sperm is moving only in upward direction? Because the rhythmic contraction of the uterus, prostaglandins are being released. Prostaglandins cause slight contractions of the uterus, which creates a force for the upward movement of the sperm towards the ovum. Now 200 to 300 million sperms are reaching the ovum, madam? No. Majority of the sperm will die in the female genital tract. They are phagocytized in the female genital tract. Only few hundred sperms reach the fallopian tube. Now after coming to the fallopian tube, acrosomal reaction starts. Now what is the meaning of these acrosomal reactions, madam? Acrosomal reactions means, you know, on the head the acrosome is there. The acrosome secretes sperm lysins like hyaluronidase enzyme, like that corona penetrating enzyme, and the third one is acrosin. The three sperm lysins are hyaluronidase, corona-penetrating enzyme, and acrosin. Now, first what happens? Hyaluronidase will dissolve the matrix, that is, corona cells will attach to one another by some cementing substance in between, which is made up of hyaluronic acid. So, this hyaluronidase is dissolving the matrix between the cells, like that. What is corona penetrating substance doing? The corona penetrating substance will dissolve corona radiata and now the sperms will reach zona pellucida. Zona pellucida is having a glycoprotein called as fertilizin. The sperm head is having a acidic amino acid by name anti-fertilizin. The reaction of fertilizin and anti-fertilizin is like a lock and key. They are species specific. You know, all keys will not fit in all locks. The lock and key are very specific. In the same way, all sperms cannot attach to all ovumes. Only the human sperms can attach to the human ovum. They are species specific. If you by injection in the female genital tract, if you inject some cat's sperms or monkey's sperms, they will not attach to the ovum because the fertilizin and anti-fertilizin of the same species only will attach. So now because of the reactions of fertilizin and anti-fertilizin, few sperms will come and attach the zona pellucida of the same species. So this is called as agglutination. What is it called as? Agglutination. Do you all understand, children? What am I saying? I am talking about acrosomal reactions. During acrosomal reactions, the acrosome of the sperm will release hyaluronidase enzyme which dissolve the matrix substance of corona radiata. The matrix of corona radiata is made up of hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronidase will dissolve hyaluronic acid. That is the matrix of corona radiata. Then another enzyme is released which is called as corona penetrating enzyme. Now corona penetrating enzyme will dissolve the corona radiata cells. Now once corona radiata is dissolved, zona pellucida is exposed. On zona pellucida there is a glycoprotein called as fertilizin, and the sperm head is having a acidic amino acid by name anti-fertilizin. That is, chemically fertilizin is a glycoprotein and anti-fertilizin is not a glycoprotein but it is a acidic amino acid. So the reactions of fertilizin and anti-fertilizin are species specific. That means the sperms of same species only can attach to the zona pellucida. So this attachment of the same species sperms to the zona pellucida is called as agglutination. What is it referred as? Agglutination. Now what happens after agglutination? After agglutination, assume if this is zona pellucida and many sperms are attached here. This is agglutination, this is the ovum, this is a perivitelline space. After agglutination, acrosin will be released which dissolve zona pellucida. Point what we should know is, acrosin is not dissolving full zona pellucida. It is dissolving zona pellucida at the point of contact and the sperm is entering this space called as perivitelline space. Now as the sperm comes in contact with the vitelline membrane, a fertilization cone develops here and vitelline membrane will, sodium channels on vitelline membrane will open and vitelline membrane will get depolarized. And this depolarization of the vitelline membrane is a fast block check for polyspermy. Because this membrane is depolarized, other sperms cannot attach to it. If all sperms attach to it and many sperms enter into a single ovum, many twins will be given birth, or attached babies will be formed, or some abnormalities will occur. Only one sperm is having a chance. Other sperms are prevented. That means polyspermy is prevented. Polyspermy is prevented means how? Fast block. How is blocked. The depolarization of vitelline membrane is a fast block check for polyspermy. And what happens next? Once the sperm contacts the vitelline membrane from the what is that called as what is it? Endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum of the ovum will discharge calcium. Already we know in the cell, I think your botanists have told cell biology, wherein he might have told you endoplasmic reticulum is always a storehouse of calcium. So the ovum's endoplasmic reticulum will discharge what? Calcium. Now calcium will, here cortical granules are there. I already showed you in the ovum structure. Because of this calcium, the cortical granules will attach to the vitelline membrane and throw their contents out and form a fertilization membrane surrounding the ovum. That means they thicken the vitelline membrane. The secretions of cortical granules will discharge, the cortical granules will secrete, they discharge some secretions which thick the vitelline membrane or forms a fertilization membrane. So this destroys the sperm receptors on the vitelline membrane so that it cannot accept any more other sperms. So this is a slow block check for polyspermy. So see children, how nicely in steps I am teaching. The first step I told you, what is the definition for fertilization? Fusion of male and female gametes is called as fertilization. The type of fertilization in humans is internal fertilization. And where is it taking place? In the ampulla. First step in fertilization is insemination. That is, the sperm should discharge the gamete into the female genital tract. You know how many sperms, how much it is, all that you know. After insemination, capacitation occurs. For capacitation to take place, 5 to 6 hours it occurs. Capacitation means what capacity the sperm is getting. The sperm is getting the capacity to move in epididymis itself. But here the sperm is getting the capacity to fertilize the ovum. Because the substances on the acrosome are washed by the secretions of female genital tract. The coating substances on the sperm head are lost. Once the coating is lost, then only the sperm will be having the capacity to fertilize the ovum. Such sperms will start moving towards the fallopian tube, towards the ovum. How the movement occurs, that also we discussed. Now after coming towards the ovum, acrosomal reactions occur, which dissolve the corona radiata and the matrix. Once the corona radiata and matrix is dissolved, the agglutination occurs. That means the sperms of same species will attach to the zona pellucida of the ovum. So this is called as agglutination, which is species specific because of fertilizing and anti-fertilizing reactions. After agglutination only, acrosin enzyme will be released and dissolve zona pellucida, and the sperm will dissolve zona pellucida and enters the perivitelline space and then touch the vitelline membrane. Once the sperm comes in contact with the vitelline membrane will get depolarized, and the depolarization of the vitelline membrane is a fast block check for polyspermy. And after depolarization, calcium is released. That much is enough for you. If at all you get it out from where calcium came into the cinema, already we should know endoplasmic reticulum are the storehouses of calcium. Ovum is nothing but it is a cell. Cell means it definitely have endoplasmic reticulum which will release calcium. So this calcium makes the cortical granules fuse with the vitelline membrane. And once they fuse with the vitelline membrane, the cortical vesicles or the cortical granules will release some secretions which thicken the perivitelline membrane. This is sometimes considered as fertilization membrane. Now once the fertilization membrane is formed, it becomes thick. The receptors on vitelline membrane for sperm will be lost. So this is a slow block check for polyspermy. So this is how polyspermy is prevented. Now what happens? The sperm enters the sperm enters into the ovum. Finally, one sperm head enters into the ovum and discharges its nucleus. As soon as the sperm enters into the ovum, what happens now? The ovum nucleus is what? It is in secondary oocyte stage. Meiosis is not completed till now, children. So now the entry of the sperm will break the metaphase promoting factor. Till now the secondary oocyte is stuck in metaphase. So the entry of the sperm will stimulate the metaphase promoting factor. It will break the metaphase promoting factor. So that's why metaphase will be lost and it will start the anaphase promoting factor. So anaphase will start and meiosis 2 continues. Meiosis 2 completes now only after the entry of the sperm and results in a formation of haploid oocyte and second polar body. Now the sperm nucleus is called as a male pronucleus and the oocyte is a female pronucleus. The male pronucleus moves towards the female pronucleus via the path called as a fertilization path and fuses with the female pronucleus and forms a structure called as a zygote nucleus or synkaryon. This fusion is called as amphimixis and the ovum with synkaryon is referred as zygote. The zygote nucleus is referred as synkaryon, whereas the fertilized ovum is called as zygote. The other name for fertilized ovum is zygote. Within the fertilized ovum, there is a nucleus. That nucleus is referred, which is diploid, and that is now referred as synkaryon. You all understand, children? And the process of this fusion is referred as amphimixis. What is it called as? Amphimixis. So these are all the points you should know about fertilization. Okay, children? Now after fertilization, we should know about sex determination. In humans, the sex of the child, whether the child is going to become a female or a male, is decided during the process of fertilization. As you all know, the males are having, the sperm is having 22 autosomes and one allosome, which 50% of the sperm will be gymnosperms like this. And see, the male will have 44 autosomes and XY. This is the adult male. The female will have, this is a male one. Whereas the female will have 44 autosome and allosomes will be XX. Now the gametes, how two types of gametes will be formed in the males? Heterogametic, male heterogametic. So 22X is one type of sperm and 22Y is another type of sperm. So 50% of the sperms are with X chromosome and 50% of the sperms are with Y chromosome. But females not like that. All the ova are 22X. All are same type of ovas, 22X only. So females are producing only one type of ova. Males only 50% gymnosperms with X chromosome and 50% androsperms with Y chromosome. During fertilization, if this sperm fuse with this ovum, it results in 22 plus 22, 44, X plus X, XX. So 44 XX means it should be a female fetus. If at all, if this sperm is fusing with the ovum, then what happens? 22 plus 22, 44, X plus Y, XY. 44 XY, that is a male baby will result. Do you understand, children? So, whether the male is going to be born or the female baby is going to be born is decided by the males, not by the females. Unfortunately, today in our society, the social evil, always the females are being blamed for not having male child. Because in our society, giving birth to male child is like a festival. Once they grow up to teenage, they will create a cinema to the parents that they don't know. So they will think the giving birth to the female baby is a sin to the female, and they will scold the females, elderly people in some of the families. But it is very clear that female is nowhere responsible for giving to the male or female baby. There is no role. All her babies are 20, 44 XX only. The male only responsible. Male is only having two types of gametes, 22X and 22Y. He is the person who is going to decide whether the male baby is going to be born or female baby is going to be born. Giving birth to a female is really a sin. That sin is created by the husband, not by the wife. So these are all the points we have to keep in mind, children. Now let us proceed to the next topic, that is cleavage, embryonic development. What happens after fertilization? So tomorrow can we do that? We will stop here today up to fertilization. How much time?